Welcome, everybody, to the All Bullshit Aside podcast with Mr. Bear. This is my co-host, Edie.
Hi, everyone.
And this is episode 9. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the healing journey. Some of the stuff that I experienced and she's experienced, or how far we've come from any trauma that we've experienced.
Yes. Well,
so I'm going to let you go ahead and start with your part of it, and then we'll go from there.
Well, this process has been a really eye-awakening for me, my healing journey. Starting my counseling, my therapy has brought out a lot of things that I never really paid attention to. So, not to go in too deep, but is going back to my childhood. My dad has always been, he was my knight in shining armor, and he was a police officer. I was his baby girl. So I was always, spoiled. Yeah. I do have other siblings before me. Again, I'm the baby girl, and I have brothers as well. But my dad, when I was younger, my memories going back to when I was 7 or 8, he always would just be my king, my hero, especially he's in a police officer, outfit.
Look at it different, yeah.
Yeah. So starting with my healing journey of dating, I had to take it back to where my first male figure was. And my dad was my first love. He was my superhero. He couldn't do no wrong. And during my teenage years, I didn't know because nobody told me, but my dad was cheating on my mom. And my mom would not tell on my dad at all. My mom was just, she didn't want to hurt her baby girl. She didn't want to tell the truth. And for the longest time, I thought it was my mom's fault. I thought my mom was the one who didn't want to get back with my dad. But when I started dating in my junior high and high school, the person that I was dating, he was my first love. He's the one that told me, your dad did this, did that. And, I was like, what?
Oh, so you found out through secondhand?
Yes.
Or
my family, I just thought things didn't work out. I saw my mom and my dad argue, a couple of times, but nobody ever told me he cheated on my mom multiple times.
Oh, wow.
And we have a sister that we never met.
Oh, wow.
And this is all in a small little town. Yeah. So imagine, 14, 15-year-olds, I was just like, wow, my heart was just shattered. It was broken. What? So I processed it. My dad he was a great dad. He has passed, and both parents have passed now, but going through high school, my first love, I think we had talked about, one time, how many true loves, soulmates do we have in a lifetime. I really believe my first boyfriend, he was my first everything. So we still talk to this day. We just had that connection, childhood connection. But, experienced that with my dad, my first boyfriend through junior high school. He did cheat on me, and I still took him back. I was in high school, and anyhow, I moved on. 20s and my 30s, I, definitely was trying to learn and be better, and trying to, I wanted to have a family. So I was trying, I was going to church, and I was, trying to look for something that was solid. And my town is so small, so there's not a lot to pick from, but I ended up getting married in my 30s. I ended up having my daughter. I look back now, and I don't feel that I was that in love with that person at that time, but I came out pregnant within 6 months, and I just made it work. It lasted for 3 years. And during that time, I lost my mom. My daughter was 1, and our relationship just went downhill. So again, I'm now in my 30s. I had a couple boyfriends in my 20s, but in my 30s, I got married. And again, I'm like, wow, it didn't work out. What's wrong? I kept thinking, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep picking these men that, they had goals, they had jobs, they have money. It wasn't like they're, losers, but it was just, I feel like the connection was just not there after, so long. And he got in some trouble, and he went away to prison, and I ended up having to raise my daughter by myself. Well, my family, of course. So I had about 4 years that I didn't date no one. I was like, I don't want to talk to nobody. My marriage didn't work. My high school boyfriend broke up, cheated on me. A couple of, boyfriends in my 20s and my 30s. I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm going to, my healing journey, right? Work out. And I did. I got to a point where I was just kind of just focused on just work. I was growing in my work. I became an administrator where I work. I loved it. I had no problems. I had no issues dealing with anybody coming home. But bottom line was I desired a relationship. I knew I want to be in a marriage. I always wanted to have that, the marriage with the white picket fence.
Yeah, I think
10
like
kids.
all of us. Well, I don't know about 10 kids, but I know,
Okay,
it's like,
5.
and I'm going to stop you real quick. I'm going to ask you because I hear this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Why do females always take back the guy or person that cheated on them? Why is that? Why is that so common? And I'll tell you, I think the number one thing I heard from a lot of the females that were just sending me DMs,
Mm-hmm.
They trying to get my, give them advice. They would say, well, he cheated on me multiple times. And I'm like, multiple times? That's like, to me, I guess the way I grew up or the way I see life, it's like, you do something, one time that's bad, okay.
Yeah.
Twice, but multiple times, like, what is it? What is it about a female that accepts a man back, after he's done the same thing over and over again? Is it comfort? Is it that's all you know? Or are you scared to move on?
Well, with my high school boyfriend at that time, there was a part of me that I felt we were too young.
Okay.
Right? 17, 18, 19 years old. He did cheat with she was a half cousin, whatever you want to say. So it wasn't just anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that was hard for me to deal with.
Yeah, because now it's a family member.
Yes.
Now it changes everything.
And yeah, and years after, I should say, we got back together. Like I said, this person, I forgave him. Like right now, if I need something, I need help, something in my house, he would totally be there for me. We forgave each other because I wasn't innocent as well. I didn't cheat on him, but at that time in high school,
you're young at that time. Are you really thinking that this is the one forever?
Right. But I think in my 20s, it's like every 10 years we would reconnect. It was so weird. But bottom line is, some women do feel like, lonely. Or if somebody, depending on the age, maybe they were in their 20s and, it was like, oh, it's just having fun. Or, marriages too, when people cheat on, their spouses, some people, go through counseling, and either it's just the low self-esteem sometimes too.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that happening. I just feel maybe, I guess what I'm trying to understand is, am I the only one that's looking at this different? Because okay, if you have kids, well, you don't want to break up the home. I get it. That's one. But how are you comfortable sleeping in the same bed with someone that has strayed?
Right.
And at any moment will probably do it again.
Right.
Because I know a lot of guys that they do things on purpose because they know that their woman's going to forgive them. And trust me, and I'm not going to put nobody on blast, to each his own. But I know dudes that literally go out and do shit and are not afraid to get caught because they already know the outcome. They know that they're going to be, just like, they'll do it again. They'll do it again. Or, they go through it. They don't even go to counseling. I don't know. To me, it's like, I guess it works for some couples. If you go to counseling and, you want to fix that situation, okay. Like for me, if my ex cheated on me and I knew at that moment, it would have been a wrap. There's no fixing it. There's nothing. The outcome would have been a lot different. So yeah, I guess, that's one of my, something I was very curious
about.
I've
never taken back somebody that cheated on me that I was in a relationship with. Yeah. So I get what you're saying. It would be really hard. High school, that part of it, like we never really got back together per se and got married. But I thank God that I haven't been cheated on in my, as far as I know, right? During my long-term relationships. So I get what you're saying. It would be really hard because trust to me is everything.
Yeah, I think
it's
for
huge,
all of us, it's
right?
Like,
it's
especially
just,
when you've been through something where you trusted somebody for so long, and then you never expected this person to do something so fucking shitty.
Yeah.
And it makes you look at life different now. Like everybody comes along, whether their intentions are great, you look at them like, what's your agenda here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I totally understand, but some women and men take back, their mate when they cheat.
I think more women than men.
Yeah,
I know a lot of guys that just will not.
Yeah.
They can't. Because with men, we have this thing where we're just like, it's like a pride thing. And I know it's kind of shitty when, if you as a man, you go out there and do something, you want to be forgiven, but the moment your woman does it, it's like the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the same exact thing. But it's, with men, it's just more of a pride thing. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna let you get back to what you were saying earlier.
No,
I was just very curious.
No,
about that.
it's true, but I have not, taken somebody back that I know and has cheated on me into, a long-term relationship, I should say. But to getting to where I'm at now, about 6 years ago, because we've been the relationship has been over about a year now. I was in a long-term relationship, and I feel like this person was kind of like my third love. I think we talked about like your soulmate. So I really felt that this person was the one for me. I was divorced. I had 4 years where I was, working on myself. I was ready. I thought I was ready. My daughter was at an age where, I wanted her to experience fun and, go to baseball games and go camping and go things that I did when I was young, with my parents before my dad cheated. But so I was ready. So I was introduced to this person, and right away we hit it off, just instant attraction, instant connection, got along, really never fought, but again, he did come with issues. He came with an ex-wife, and he came with an ex-wife apparently was not over it. And the long story short is, he has kids with her, and he went to prison. And so when I met him, he had gotten out of prison about 7-8 months. He had been out of prison. So when I was learning his story, at that time, I felt, again, ignoring that red flag, right? My first red flag was when he went away, they were still married. He went away for something. They were still married. She left him while he was in prison. So he didn't leave her because he didn't love her. She left him, right? So in the back of my mind, when he came out, he had lost about 7 years. 7 years. Lost, his kids at that time. So he comes out, the kids are older, 7, 8 was the youngest one, and then 13, and he had a couple older ones. So when he came out, this person no longer was in that relationship who she left him for, had no money, was struggling, whatever. And he also has a Down syndrome son who pretty much at that time was like a 17, 18-year-old with a 5-year-old mind, really big boy, a lot of work. I give it to them. He's a lot of work. But I accepted it because I fell in love with him. I fell in love with who he was. I fell in love with his family, his mom, his sister, his brothers, everybody. We were a family. And we connected. We had a good 4 years out of it. But during that whole time, when I first met him, even at the beginning, I think back, he had told me, my ex wants me back, but I don't want her back. I'm ready to move on. I'm done with that. She's a bitch. I don't want anything to do with her. She's crazy. She left me. I want to focus on building a future with you. I believed him. I took a chance, right? So during the whole time, she always tried to do something, always. About 4 years, we were doing great. And then the pandemic happened, right? So at that time, nobody knew what was going to happen, and his son with the Down syndrome, they were all worried, like if he got sick, he can, pretty much probably die from it. So his son didn't go anywhere for a whole year. So it was really hard for him. He had built this relationship with his kids. We spent time as a family. We did things. We got his son to go out in the public and everything. And it just shut down. He didn't let nobody touch him, cut his hair, wouldn't go outside, would not step out for a year. So he gained a lot of weight. He just looked like where he shouldn't look like. Ex was getting told by, his older family members that, you're a piece of shit dad because look at you, you're enjoying your life. My mom's over here struggling. Look at your son, making him feel like crap. And after that, I saw a whole difference in him. So we line up. I felt like, okay, something's up. We line up talking, and I was like, I can't do this no more. Nobody really knows this story. I haven't really shared it with anybody. So it was 2 weeks before we had the conversation. I was crying. I said, I can't do this no more. I feel lonely. You're stressing over there. I as it is long distance. We drove back and forth. He lived in LA for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And you talk about how hard it was for you to meet up with somebody, but we made it happen. He would work after work, he would go drive to my house 2 hours, vice versa. And I was like, if this man didn't love me, why would he do this? You know, it was just, I don't know. I'm not going to ever regret the time we had, because I know the time that we had, it was special at that time, you know, and my daughter as well, you know. But towards the end, I had the 2 weeks before we broke up, I was like, I can't do this anymore. It was just too hard. 2 weeks after, I felt it. And he's like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I got to be there for my son. This is killing me. And I know you're not going to like it, but I'm going to have to be over there with her more, because I have to get my son back to normal. And we couldn't do it, right? So I said, okay. So everybody was in shock. Everybody's in shock because, again, his family can care less for her. There's a lot of issues. Again, meeting them, they told me she was this horrible person. We never met in person. But now that I know who this person is, okay, whatever, you know, she was supposed to be this Christian pastor and this, you know, prophet. And, you know, she had posted something. I guess somebody told me that, you know, the beginning of last year or the year before, that she had a prophet that her and her family were supposed to get back together with, you know, with my ex, whatever. And I said, no, bitch, you manipulated him from day one. That's not of God. Yeah. You know, and it's like the conversation that we had at the end, because I had a conversation with her through text. I said, she's like, I'm not going to fight for him. And I said, you fought for him this whole freaking time. Yeah. You won. Congratulations. You won. And then I always kept that in my mind, was like, what did she win? I said, he lost me. Yeah. You know, now that my healing journey, where I'm learning is what he gained was somebody that threw him away while he was at his lowest. Yeah. You're with somebody that divorced you, left you alone. You know what I mean? Who gave up on you. So that's who you have. And so now with my healing journey, it's like, you know what? If that's who you want to be, good luck. You know, I wish you the best, because I know my value. I know my worth. Yeah. And now that I know that towards the end of everything, you know, a lot of people don't know this as well, is, you know, he was asking me to hold on and to wait for him. You know, a month before we finally stopped talking, we were talking for a whole month after we had broke up. And I had text messages. We met up, you know, we were still sleeping with each other. And he was promising me, telling me, just wait for me, babe. I feel like this is too much, but I don't want to lose you. You know, send me pictures of his son and how much progress he had did. You know, he was getting his son to go outside, and he was just like, I feel like dying. It's just too much. I can't do this, and I don't leave me. And you know, telling me, giving me hope.
Do you feel like it was like manipulation?
Yes, he was manipulating me. And a lot of people don't know this, that towards that end, he was doing this to me, you know, and literally for a whole month, 2 days before, he had a seizure after we stopped talking. And literally it was on May 31st of the following 2 years ago. And I was told, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy could have died. You know, but literally 2 days before that happened, he's crying to me, you know, on the phone or FaceTime, and he's telling me, I miss you, wait for me, you know, I know what true love is, you know, because I never needed anything from him. You know, I didn't have his kids to manipulate to be with me, right? Or his money or sick kid or nothing. So he was with me. I didn't have to take anything. I wanted to be with him. You know, there's a difference. But after his seizure, I did talk to him, and I found out that he had went back to her. So at that time, it was 2 weeks. So I'm like, 2 weeks ago, for a month, you were telling me to wait for you. You loved me. He kept saying, I'm not with her. It's not about her. It's about my son, right? Still promising me this stuff. So I got to the point where I was like, I just went black. I just went dark. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to go down, I'm taking you down with me. That's pretty much where I was like, you know, all this time I felt was wasted. And if you really were manipulating me, because he would always promise me, we're going to get married. And I'm like, okay, well, is this the year we're getting married? Well, okay, are you ready to come move in with me? But he knew I wasn't, because I needed my daughter to finish her junior high. So he would throw things like that at me, like, okay, well, let's get married then. okay, well, let's do this then. And then I was like, okay. Got to the point where he finally was like, we're going to build, he was going to remodel his house and we're going to move in. That was going to be our retirement, right? Okay, so we're going to focus on retirement. You get your kids done with school. I'll get my daughter done with school and we'll be at the central location and we'll live life. That's what was told to me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, dealing with having towards the end of after his stroke or his seizure, sorry, I was told that he had got back with her.
Mm-hmm.
So with my messages I had, and again, I don't want to be this person, but I had to do it. So I sent messages of the messages that he sent me, text messages, email, FaceTime, everything.
FaceTime, how do you do that?
You can record FaceTime.
I mean, I don't want to know, but that's crazy.
He's all wet. Like I said, I'm not proud of this, but I was done. I was done.
It's not even, you know what? It's not even judgment. I'm not trying to judge you or anything, but I think we all have that. We all go through that whole kind of, well, fuck you then.
Right,
you know, because it's funny you say that. You know, I mean, I was manipulated into a lot of shit. You know, like my thing real quick was the moment I saw the pictures of my ex and the new dude, like, and I confronted her with it. She's like, "Oh, you're overthinking it." I'm like, "I'm overthinking it. I'm seeing pictures of you kissing another man holding beers, and I'm overthinking it." So it's like, dude, the manipulation is crazy. Like,
oh yeah,
like you're trying to really tell me that I didn't just see what I just saw.
Yeah, he would say I was tripping because there was messages, and I think back now because they had to communicate, but there was times that she would send a message and the message would come up. He would never hide it from me. That's why I think back, I'm like, he's like, oh, so-and-so is calling me. And then, you know, sometimes the message comes up and he'll be like that. And he's like, babe, what does that say? And I go, what does that mean? And he was like, oh, because I gave her child support. And she made a joke like, oh, thanks, baby daddy. Thanks for the dinner. And I was like, what does that mean? Oh, because I sent her money, you know, for dinner for the kids. So he always tried to, you know, make me feel like I was tripping. That's what his word was. You're tripping. I don't want to go back with her. You know, he even had her name behind for years. I would always tell him on the back, it's a big old thing on her name. And I was like, like, you know, when are you going to take that off? And he was like, oh, babe, I will. This not. He surprised me and he had it covered up. Hours of work. So, I mean, everything that he would show me, I would tell him, you know, how I was feeling. He would always like do it. Right. And I was just like, man, this guy was really good. Or do I believe that, you know, it didn't really change to the end? I don't know. But I know from the beginning, she wanted him back. Yeah. She wanted him back.
So looking back now in the, you know, like now that you know, would you have like just proceeded with this relationship?
I would not have, because now that my healing journey is that he was not healed. He still had open wounds from losing his family and losing that time with his kids, because during the time we were together, his way of trying to be there for his kids was buying them stuff. Yeah. And that's not how I roll.
Well, it's not how any parent should roll.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, no, spend time with them. Go to the park. Go this, go that. They just knew what was shown to them. Money, 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 money. Yeah. What can dad buy me? He's been gone. You owe us this and that. Yeah. He don't owe you crap. What he owed you is why he went to prison. He went to prison because all of you and your mom were enjoying what he was doing. So it was not just your dad's fault. He's the one that suffered. Yeah. You know what I mean? So point being is that I probably would not have, because now that I'm learning is that I want and I deserve somebody who's just as healed as me, who's ready, who's honest, who's open, who's not holding any baggage, who doesn't have no regrets. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's where I'm at now, you know, but at that ending part of it where I was just done, when I sent those messages and I sent, this is what your father was doing. This is what your man was doing 2 weeks ago. And, you know, I got a response, and that's when, you know, that the ex was like, well, he's here with me. And I was like, yeah, well, he was with me 2 weeks ago. You know, we were going back and forth and blah, 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 you know, and bottom line is the same thing like with your ex, you know, when you saw those pictures, they made a decision. Yeah. They made a decision. Yeah. And no matter what,
it's just
he's gone.
They didn't want to get caught.
They didn't want to get caught.
They get caught, they want to wiggle their way out of it. Right? It's like, no.
And I think with me doing that, I don't think he ever thought I would do that, but I sent it to, his family, and, his family and I right now, like his sister and his mom, I will always love them. And they, to this day, I still talk to his sister, and we're on Facebook and, Instagram, but, I think everybody was in shock. I don't think there's not one person.
To me, I'm like, that's nice. You're being nice, because I could not be on any, even with my ex mother-in-law or ex sister-in-law. No, because the fact that my ex mother-in-law was there with my ex while she was fucking around, it's like, oh man. And then you have the nerve to come over here and be like, oh, I'm not. I
mean, now I'm sure they do family functions together, but at that time, I'm telling you that when I met them, this person did so much horrible things to his mom and to the family. I was just in shock. So as far as I know, nobody really accepted it, but they have to. They have no choice. That's the brother.
I get it.
You know what I mean? And again, not that I want to see them all happy together, but there will always be my life experience with them. I'll always have those great memories. And even his sister would be like, "You're my sister-in-law. I don't care," and she still has our pictures up and stuff. But it is hard. It is hard. But now I'm at the point where, me sending those messages was to let go. It's like, you know what? Piece of shit likes piece of shit, so you guys can be together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because she is not me and I am not her. And if that's what you want, hey, I definitely deserve better. And that's pretty much my whole journey with my past relationship. As far as if he was lying the whole time, he's a great manipulator, but he did promise me the world, you know what I mean? And towards the end, if it was the truth and it was for his son, and she won, you won what you got, you know what I mean? And to me, he lost me, and I'm not gonna I'm all that, but I know who I am. I'm a good person, and I know that one day, like you said, the grass may not be green on the other side. Well, I've heard some stuff. So,
Oh yeah. It's funny. I'm the same way. And I'm not even trying to, there's no contact with me and my ex, nothing. Right. We share a daughter and that's it. But through other people, I've heard the guy's not that great. The guy's like, it's all right. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for redemption. I'm not looking for, but I kind of laugh at the fact that you chose somebody. I don't, just someone that provided something that's so stupid, someone that's okay with you being, going out and drinking or whatever the hell it is you want to do.
Right.
That's what you chose. And yeah, I've heard the guy's, like a guy's a moron.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, cool, whatever. The only thing I've ever cared about was this. As long as you don't disrespect my daughter, hey, I don't care what you do, just don't disrespect my daughter, because then you're going to see that other side of me. And that's not a good side. But other than that, I always wanted my daughter to have a good relationship with her mom.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that my daughter has a good relationship with me, and that's it. As far as family goes, I have no really, just my niece, my compadre's daughter. I have contact with her, not really with her mom because she's out in her own world. My other nephew and niece, that's it. But other than there's no connection with the ex mother-in-law.
Yeah.
There's no with anybody in that family. I chose to just kind of cut everybody across the board, And
it's hard.
It's real hard.
It's hard. At the beginning, his sister was my support, and I was there for her, during some times, and I thank God for her because she helped me, She helped me. My family did too. My sisters at the time definitely helped me. My sister who's passed, when I first met this person, I was so excited. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I won the lotto. And my sister would be like, he won the lotto. What are you talking about? You're the prize. Remember that. He won you, and for the longest time, I couldn't see that because I put him on this pedestal because, he's just, to me, I was this instant attraction. He brought this excitement into my life that I had never experienced, going to LA, going to all these events and just feeling that love and joy that, you haven't felt for so long, for this person to do that. I really thought we were going to be together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think his family did too. And that's why to this day that I will always respect, his mom and his sister, his brother and his nieces and stuff and nephews, because from day one, they welcomed me and my daughter. They welcomed me with open arms. And I will always appreciate that, but the bottom line is this person made the choice. And no matter what, this person is where they're supposed to be. And like you said, how could people go back to somebody, they got cheated on? I don't know if he cheated on me while he was with her, but you know what? If he did, karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
And if he didn't, and it really just happened at the end, I still feel like she manipulated him. But bottom line, there was a choice that made. And I am now, at a place where I am happier with myself. I'm,
that's what's important. Yeah.
My healing journey that's why I'm sharing this with the Facebook world and TikTok world, is that you can get through it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You can get through it. This is my last tissue that I'm going to use on that person.
Well, the problem is that there is a lot of people out there that are not healed themselves.
No more tissues.
And here you go. Put it away. And are hurting other people, because hurt people, hurt other hurt people. And it's just a cycle. But yeah, one thing I could tell everybody out there is, look, if you're not ready to date, don't go out there, because there's someone out there that is really ready to go for something special, and you come into their life and you're just adding to their, their trauma, and that's not good. But I get it's a lesson. Mm-hmm. These are all lessons. And at the end of the day, if you obviously learn from you learn from your that lesson, you become a better person. Because I know I did. I met a lot of shitty people on this journey. A lot of people that were just trying to be, take advantage, or just, wanted to fill their void and whatnot. And yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad you're doing better. Yes. And obviously you look like you're doing a lot better.
Yeah. And I want to just also throw a shout out to you, because you have helped me too.
Thank you. I'm glad.
Meeting just people online and meeting you, you're a perfect example of what a man who was hurt can become, and your current girlfriend is very blessed and very lucky to have you. And I know that as single women who are looking for, this knight in shining armor, don't look for the knight in shining armor. Look for the king. Look for your emperor, because that's what you deserve. You're a queen. And again, what you have inside and you're going to give to the other person, it needs to be mutual. You have to be on the same page, and it will happen. It will happen. And I just want to, thank David and everybody else that has reached out to me and helped me. I am a lot happier. I learned a lot, and I am just excited for my future. I don't want to feel any more hurt. I'm just like, I'm so over it. You know what I mean? I'm like, all my past, I want everybody just to be where they're supposed to be. And I'm just excited for my future, and that's it. But yeah, I just want to thank you.
He'll come around. He'll come around. He's
somewhere.
He's sleeping right now.
He's sleeping. my man is coming around. But yeah, like I said, to the women and men out there, everybody has a story, and speak your truth. I never thought I would be on a social media platform and sharing my truth.
Yeah, it's the same way.
Bottom line is, I have nothing to hide. We don't have anything to hide. And when you don't have anything to hide, you will shine. The light will always come out of the dark. And if I can help one person know that, don't be embarrassed. What's been done to you, if you have any part with it, just learn from it. Just grow and learn from those lessons, and it's going to make you a better person. And I just want, again, to let everybody know that, you can do it. Just keep working on yourself and just have faith and know that, you're going to be good. You're going to be okay.
There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Trust me. I'm living proof that, I remember those days where I was like, no, never again. Yeah, there is. You got to be patient with yourself. That's all it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, well, that's good. My story. That's my truth. Well,
we're glad you can share
short
with
version
us.
Of it. But.
Once again, thank you guys for tuning in, and we appreciate it. And like I've always said, if you need to reach out, feel free to reach out. We're an open book, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you.